Community Center. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated on the agenda. Visitors requesting permission to address the board on a specific agenda item should sign in before the meeting starts on a form at the board table. The board requests a discussion time limit of 3 minutes on any specific agenda item, and we ask a visitor to make only one appearance per item. We ask those addressing the board to speak from the podium and to state their name and address. Board Policy 0167.3 dictates that personnel issues will not be addressed. Concerns about individual employees of the district should be brought to the superintendent's or designee. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the School Corporation Central Office. The Board of Trustees respectfully request those guests and visitors in attendance to be courteous and silence their cell phones. Thank you. It's been customary that we begin with a prayer. Ms. Keith?
You bow with me in prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening and to conduct the work of the school corporation. We thank you for your hedge of protection over us as we face lots of winter weather, and we pray that you would continue to do that as more is headed our way this evening. Pray that you would guide our conversations, our comments, and our decisions this evening. I pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Call the meeting to order. The two individuals that are chosen for lead the pledge, could they please come forward?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call. If you could please show Mr. Bertrand absent, and we do have a quorum. Mission statement, Mr. Hurd.
Lebanon Community School Corporation will cultivate and reach every student by influencing and enriching their lives through the power of education, and do so in a positive and safe learning environment.
Good news, Mr. Taylor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wary. It's my privilege to bring to the board several items this evening of good news. First, from Lebanon High School, we want to extend our congratulations to senior Julie Kupka, who was recently named a National Merit Finalist. This honor is very prestigious and places her in the top 1% of students academically in the United States. Julie is now in the running for the Merit Scholarship, and we want to extend our congratulations not only to Julie, but her parents and everyone that's been a part of her educational career during her time here at Lebanon. Also at Lebanon High School, we want to recognize this evening several members from the FFA who were awarded for proficiency applications at the recent district level meeting. Congratulations to district winners Jill Merritt, Madeline Murphy, Jacob Winger, and Austin Wright. And we want to recognize second place winners Heath Ernst, Kristen Hackett, and Veronica Kassab. District winners will represent Lebanon High School at the FFA at the state level later this year. So our congratulations to our FFA members and their program sponsors. As winter sports are coming to a close, I want to congratulate each team on a very successful season. They had good showings in both sectional and conference and state competition. And we want to also wish our best to the boys basketball team as their sectional begins here next week. And we want to congratulate LHS swimmer Sydney Daisley for setting a freshman record, and to the 400 relay team for setting a new varsity record, and we're proud of them. Also, our Lebanon High School wrestlers, our sectional champions, were Cameron Toole, as well as Eston Williamson and Andy Morgan, who joined Cameron in qualifying for the regionals. And LHS varsity swim coach Craig Howe for being named Girls Sectional Coach of the Year. So congratulations to all our winter athletes for their accomplishments this year. And especially want to take a moment, and I want to commend Harney Elementary teacher Brittany Gunther, whose quick thinking saved the life of one of our students last week. During lunch, one of Mrs. Gunther's students was choking on a carrot stick. And through her quick action and immediate response, she was appropriate and was able to dislodge the carrot and help the child regain normal breathing. So again, well timed, but well appreciated for her service above and beyond. So we're glad this has a happy ending to it. I also learned through this process that apparently the word Heimlich is a copyrighted word, and we can't say Heimlich and to that. But we do want to congratulate Brittany and her excellent response, her timely response, and how well she responded to that situation. And that is the good news I bring to the board this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Agenda number 2, we need approval for minutes for the January 15th, 2019 regular meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next thing we need to do is certify executive session content for January 29th, 2019 executive session to discuss job performance evaluations of individual employees.
I will make a motion to approve that.
Liz, second?
I'll second.
Any questions? No questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Audience to visitors is our next. We have 2 people signed up. But what I'm going to do is I had down further in the agenda under other business, the superintendent search update. And I'm going to read some bullet points that I have lined out for an update on the search process before the individuals get a chance to speak. Okay? I just want to say thank you, public, for their interest for all the public in their interest in the hiring of the next superintendent. And take this opportunity to provide you an update on this process. You may be aware that the timeline of events thus far, we posted the job on December 18th, 2018, and applications were accepted through January 31st of 2019. I am pleased to report that we have had a number of highly qualified applicants, and I have personally acknowledged the receipt of all applications. On the next step, our next step is to identify and scheduling candidates for interview. In order to maintain and guaranteed confidentiality and professional courtesy, we will not be sharing the names of those applicants at any time during this process. I speak for the Board of Trustees when I say that we take this responsibility very seriously. This is what we are elected to do, and we are committed to making the best decision for the students, staff, families, and the LCSC community. We have engaged the university team for assistance in screening and selecting the applicants. This team is made up of 4 professors from our state universities, Purdue, ISU, Ball State, and IU. With the exception of travel expenses that are associated, there is no fee for their services. Throughout this process, from designing the job posting to identifying qualities we wish to see in potential candidates, we have been utilizing authentic feedback from our LCSC stakeholders. We have implemented an open forum for any stakeholders, including staff, parents, community members, to provide specific feedback on the search. That's the portal that everybody has been made aware of. Your contributions to this forum may be anonymous. We ask that all contributions be submitted by the end of the day tomorrow, February 20th, 2019. The link has been sent out via email as well as posted on our website and social media channels. I will say, we are going to be ending the link then, but we will accept emails. Every one of our emails is posted on our website. If there is any questions or concerns, please feel free to email us at any time. That's what we are here for. We are your elected officials in making this decision. This data that we are collecting is going to be used, and you have our words that it is going to be used to pick the next superintendent for this school corporation. We do not, at this time, plan on any utilization of committees, similar groups, or any representation of current employees, parents, students, community members, etc., in the interview or selection process. Additional opportunities for public input will be shared as they become available. And again, one thing I want to say, there's a horrible rumor mill that goes out there. If somebody hears something and they have a question about it, please email us. We will tell you, no, that's not right, yes, that's right, and point in the right direction. Okay? That's the biggest thing that we've got to get stopped during this process, is everybody talking and having their own agendas back and forth. We have no agenda but to find the best candidate for our school corporation. That's our agenda, is the best candidate for everyone. Every one of us have had kids that have graduated or still continuing to school here, and that is important to us. So I just wanted to make that clear before, and that is our update. I don't know when the next update will be, but as soon as we have information to put out there, we will put it out there on whatever channel that we need to get it out there through Jen and the communications department. Okay? So, our audience to visitors, we have Susie Boyette signed up.
My name is Susie Boyette. Oh, that's live.
You're live.
That's right. My name is Susie Boyette. My address is 318 North Park Street, Lebanon, Indiana. Mr. President, members of the board, I rise today in my role as president of the Lebanon Classroom Teachers Association, the exclusive representative of teachers in this school district. I know there's a short time limit, so I'll try to be brief. As you know, this board is in the process of picking a new educational leader for our school. Obviously, the person ultimately to be chosen for this role will be important in determining the future of our district. As you also know, we have what it takes to be great. Great teachers, great parents, great students, and we need our next superintendent to be a great educational leader. I rise on behalf of LCTA to renew our request that I be included on the superintendent search committee as the elected representative of the teachers here. I ask too that appropriate parent representatives be included as well. As I'm sure you will acknowledge, there are things about an applicant that can only be gleaned from face-to-face conversation. It's why you will conduct interviews rather than hire based only on the paper resumes that are submitted. You know that it isn't just the words that are said, but also the subtleties of delivery, the receptivity to particular questions, the depth of response when probed, that reveal as much as the written record and more. To provide input on these things, we need to be in the room. And the board can only benefit from stakeholder input on these factors. Your choice of the new superintendent is important, but the way you choose him or her is also important too. Process is a powerful communicator, and here the inclusion of the Teachers Association, the voice of teachers, is important too. You have the opportunity to tell teachers through full inclusion of their elected representative in this selection process that they matter, that they are regarded as essential and valuable experts, or to tell them, like too many of our elected politicians these days, that you don't have that respect or that voice. And finally, a selection process that includes stakeholders will help your selected leader come in with buy-in from the teachers and community he or she will need to succeed. You can set your superintendent up for success, or you can fill the road ahead with potholes. The process matters. And the truth is that those of us who spend the most time with students this district serves, teachers and parents, are in a unique position to know what those students need. Our involvement on the search committee and in candidate interviews, we believe, can provide unique insight to this board as it discharges its obligation to hire our next leader. Why, if we are all committed to the best interests of our students, would you not involve the educators and parents most directly involved with those students to participate directly in the hiring process? With all due respect, you can hire a consultant group to advise the board, but only true experts on our kids. We're right here in front of you. Our advice is free. We won't even charge you to get there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, Amy Hammerly.
Amy Hammerly, 2334 Ulen Overlook. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak. I just want to share how important it is to be inclusive in the hiring process, especially for a superintendent. 10 years ago, I was involved in the hiring committee for the band director, Alan Conrad, and at that time there were 3 parents involved in addition to the choral director at that time, principal, and several other people. So for superintendent, I really feel that it's important to have a parent involved in the committee, even though many of you are parents of students, but to have an outside voice as far as parent representation. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Agenda number item 5, Tiger Pride.
Thank you, Mr. Wary. As is a practice of the board, we recognize those students and significant contributors to our Pride Championship Award. And at this time, I would ask Ms. Kristen Scott to come forward, please. We have not only students to recognize this evening, but we also have some community members that are critical to allowing our students to grow both academically and a mature kind of approach to workforce or work-based development. So, Ms. Scott.
Thank you. The Tiger Pride Champion Award celebrates individual achievements by recognizing 5th, 8th, and 12th grade students who demonstrate persistence, respectfulness, initiative, dependability, and efficiency in and outside of the classroom. 1 student from each of the buildings has been selected by their teachers and administrators for this special recognition. Tonight, we're going to begin by recognizing high school student Preston Russ. Preston takes personal pride in his learning and demonstrates sincere persistence when learning is challenging. Preston's teachers can always count on him giving his best effort. Preston is an ideal representative of the Tiger Pride Champion Award as he represents everything an employer is looking for, which is a dedicated employee who shows up every day, arrives early, stays until the job is done, works extremely hard, and is extremely supportive of his coworkers. Congratulations, Preston. Next up is Abigail Johnson from Lebanon Middle School. Abigail sets high expectations for herself and is a great role model for her classmates. Abigail shows respect for her peers and the staff at LMS and truly cares about the students around her. She is also active in various activities at LMS. The staff at LMS is proud to select Abigail for this award. Congratulations. Representing Central Elementary is Nicholas Trepkos. Nicholas can be depended on to do the right thing each and every day. He has a vibrant imagination and excels in his academics. He welcomes leadership roles and works democratically with his peers. He is a valued member of the learning community and is a model of what it takes to be a Tiger Pride champion. Congratulations. From Harney Elementary, we have Callie Bruder. Harney Elementary is proud to nominate Callie as their Tiger Pride champion because she embodies the very qualities of pride. Callie is helpful, organized, reliable, cooperative, and responsible. She's always willing to help a classmate, lend a hand in the preschool, or help provide leadership to the school. Callie works hard to maintain her grades and doesn't settle for less than her best. And as if that wasn't enough, she does all of this with a positive attitude and a smile on her face. From Hattie B. Stokes, we have Clara Gramlin. Clara doesn't do anything halfway. Whether she is completing in-class work, taking an important test, or helping another student, she is completely invested in the task. She is a strong student in the classroom and a talented wrestler. She regularly works as an anchor for the morning announcements and serves as a student leader on the ambassador team. There is very little that intimidates Clara, and in the face of challenge, Clara does not give up. Congratulations. Maribeth Bergen is representing Perryworth Elementary. While Maribeth exemplifies all the aspects of the Pride Pledge, one area that stands out from the others is dependability. Perryworth can depend on her to always do the best on any assignment or task, to always be a role model for her peers, and to always bring a great attitude to school every day. Congratulations. Dr. Taylor, do you want to have a few words?
Let me congratulate you again. As I've said before, as we've done this, and we bring you young leaders that represent each of our schools to these meetings, it's just not to recognize what you do individually, but it's to recognize what you do collectively. Your presence in the hallway, your courtesy, your leadership, your guidance, your ability just to show others the right thing to do by how you behave speaks volumes. And so we're so proud of what you do. So while this is just one recognition, the impact you have on all of your peers and your teachers is invaluable. And I congratulate you because it's just not one act that you're recognized for, but it's how you live your life, how you conduct yourself as students, and how you help your fellow students in your schools. And to the parents and grandparents, this just doesn't happen at school. This happens at home. Through the smiles and the tears, this is the end result. And so I'm at a point where I'm finishing my career. If you want to know why I've spent 42 years in education, because I have a chance to see our future every day. I see what teachers see, from those that are about to graduate to those that are just coming along. And these young men and women that you see before you are not only individually to be recognized for all they've achieved, but they're truly to be respected for what they bring. And so to the parents, I thank you, because this is not something we do on our own. It's a cliche, but it does take a village. Sometimes you worry the village is a little on fire, but nonetheless it takes a village. And through your hard work, and for those of grandparents that are here, aunts and uncles, and brothers and sisters, this is what it all comes down to. Hard work, the tears, and the smiles that I see this evening are what help produce these young men. Ladies and gentlemen, another big round of applause. Unless you guys want to sing or dance, you can.
We're excited tonight to also bring to you a brand new recognition to recognize and celebrate our community partners, members of our parents and business and organizations who are an asset to LCSC and display persistence, respectfulness, initiative, dependability, and efficiency in everything that they do, and they're role models for our students and our school community. First, we'd like to recognize Tricia Acton, who has been nominated by Lebanon Middle School. Tricia? Four years ago, Tricia single-handedly restarted the PTO at Lebanon Middle School. Through her leadership, Tricia has raised well over $30,000 for LMS students and teachers through the LMS walkathon and dodgeball tournaments. She has also helped to garner a small but mighty group of parent volunteers to assist in helping supervise the student lounge during lunch, and has served as a chaperone for the 8th grade Job Spark experience. Tricia is always willing to purchase items for the PBIS student store or prizes and awards for students. She has planned several dinners and lunches for the teachers, as well as provides them a gift during Teacher Appreciation Week. Teachers know that if they need something funded or need help with a project, they can count on her. Ms. Acton is an asset to Lebanon Middle School students and staff. Thank you. tonight, we'd also like to recognize the Whitaker family, Jeff, Carol, and Michelle. The Whitaker family was nominated by the staff at Lebanon High School. The Whitaker family is a great community partner for our schools. As owners of Dairy Queen, Jeff and Carol are very generous with donations to our schools, teams, and clubs. They provide a great place of employment for our students and are always caring for our students like they're their own. Carol serves as the coordinator for Witham Volunteers, where she works closely with our life skills students and staff. She is loving, compassionate, and caring, and demonstrates a genuine interest for helping our students. In addition, Carol serves as a CASA within our community and has provided support for many students over the years. Through her work, her church donated Christmas gift bags for needy students. Michelle is a school-based therapist who is highly involved and always goes above and beyond to make sure students get what they need. She advocates for them, and she does a great job of communicating with teachers and staffs to support her students. Michelle is a valuable member of our crisis intervention team, and she tirelessly works in the community to support our youth, especially those with the most extreme needs. As a family, the Whitakers model pride in all that they do for our students, staff, and Lebanon community. Congratulations. We'll get a group picture real quick. Thank you.
So as Mrs. Scott read the compliments and accolades of our folks this evening, I don't want you to think it's because they raise a lot of money or they sell a lot of dilly bars. What it comes down to is the passion they bring and the compliment they bring to our classroom teachers to help students grow. More and more we've tried to redefine student success. It's just not can you go to college, but it's what can you do for your community, how we grow up to be a contributing member of our society. And we look at those skills and we have to refer to those people in our community. Just like parents are so critical in how we raise our children to have this honor to be up here as part of our Pride Champions, our community members are critical to make sure that we, as a community, ensure our success and the future of our children's success. So the contributions that we recognize this evening are not an individual again or not a collective again. They're simply representative of a very unique benefit we have as a community involvement in our education. So whether it's the passion about leadership or it's the passion about helping children. And not just those that come smiling every day and smell good and dress nice, but all of our children. There's a passion come from all. Because they're all young people that we want to see succeed. So to all of you this evening, to our honorees this evening, to those parents that are here and the grandparents that are here, I can't tell you enough what your involvement means to the future of your children. What your involvement means to an old retiring superintendent. And I thank each and every one of you. Again, can we have a round of applause for all of our Thank you, Mr. Wary.
Thank you, that was great. Next item, consent agenda, Mr. Tate.
Present to the board and the community this evening. Our monthly financial report shows these percents expended as of January 31st. For our education fund, 6.76%, operations fund at 4.41%. At this time, I'd ask for approval of claims numbered 47655 through 47867. The payrolls dated January 18th, February 1st, and February 15th. The claims totaled $3,290,238.20. The three payrolls totaled $2,321,579.30 for a total of $5,611,817.50. Ask for approval of those at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. Can we get an approval of the claims for payment? 47655 to 47867, and payrolls for January 18th, 2019, February 1st, 2019, and February 15th, 2019. Can I have a motion? Lisa, second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Dr. Taylor. agenda
Thank
for
you, Mr. Ware.
routine matters.
You know, normally when we have parents and children here, we say after the event, you're welcome to leave, but I did that before Mr. Tate's a couple of times, and he gets a complex because everybody gets up and goes. So I will wait until mine, and anyone that wants to go home and wait for that, are we gonna delay school tomorrow phone call? Or want to just get home and watch the IU Purdue game? Please feel free to leave at this time. Ms. Moore, I'm afraid you need to stay. Thank you, everyone,
the
again.
game?
Huh?
Is it the game?
Yeah. I see, I kept them here for you, but I didn't.
Congratulations.
And to our hardcore attendees, or AKA our employees, thanks for staying. Thank you, Mr. Wiry. At this time, I would ask for the board's consideration under the agenda items for routine staff matters to take as a consent agenda items A, classified, B, staff communications, and 3, extracurricular activities. Under 7A this evening, I present for the board's review and consideration 3 employees, 2 custodians, and an instructional assistant that will be utilized at the Indiana United Methodist Children's Home. Also this evening in staff communications, Mr. O'Rourke, principal of Lebanon High School, is recommending, and I concur, with the employing of Antonio or Tony Perez as a visual arts teacher. This is a temporary contract for maternity leave for Miss Beeson, a high school teacher at that time. Also, Mrs. Solomon is recommending Brooke Aberney as a temporary kindergarten teacher. This is for Elizabeth King's maternity leave. As you realize, we had a other individual approved, but that individual no longer was employed with us, so we need to have the approval of this, and she is currently teaching at this time. Under C, Ms. Scoble, who is the athletic director at Lebanon Middle School, is recommending Matt Wilson for the 8th grade girls basketball coach due to a resignation of a previous coach there. And Ms. Scoble is also recommending for the 18-19 spring season at this time 2 individuals, Todd Meyer and Sam Godby, for boys golf. They will be splitting the full stipend. Also under extracurricular this evening, Mr. Phil Levine, athletic director at Lebanon High School, is recommending Sam Parsons as the LHS girls soccer varsity assistant and JV coach due to the resignation of Benny Boyer. Those are the agenda matters under staff concerns I bring for the board's consideration this evening.
Board, if we could get a motion to approve the agenda for routine staff matters A through C.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 8, request to transfer money. Mr. Tate.
Yes, I bring to the board this evening a request and a recommendation to the board to transfer $250,000 from the education fund to the rainy day fund.
And each one of these on the agenda has to be,
I would like to do
Separately.
these separately,
Okay,
please,
okay.
just for the record.
So I have a motion, or I need a motion to request to transfer $250,000 from the education fund to the rainy day fund.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Dave Hurd, second. All those in favor say aye.
Actually, I had a
Oh,
question.
question, sorry.
I was just was hoping for a little more explanation as to why we're doing
Yeah,
that, so.
looking at the end of the year cash balance and looking at projection of the revenue compared to expenditures and the need to re-support our rainy day fund, this is the reason for my recommendation.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry about that, please.
No, that's fine.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next one, Mr. Tate?
Yes, also request and recommend to the board that we transfer $250,000 from the operations fund to the rainy day fund for the same reason. Looking at the end of the year cash balance from 2018, projected revenue versus expenditures, and the need to increase our balance in the rainy day fund.
So I need a motion to request to transfer the same amount, $250,000, from our operations fund to the rainy day fund this time. And a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? Mr. Tate, can you explain the difference between the education fund and operations, just in a short
Yep,
thing?
sure.
Of why there's two separate funds there now?
Yes, definitely. The, beginning of 2019, there was a change in the fund structure for the state of Indiana. The education fund is strictly expenses that support student education. So the expenses in the school buildings for the teachers, the administrators, the aides, the secretaries, et cetera, that support the instruction. The operations fund is a combination of our capital projects, transportation operation, and bus replacement, along with other expenditures not directly related to the education of students in the school buildings. So those are the basic differences between the two.
Thank you, Mr. Tate.
Yeah, and the education revenue comes from the state basic grant. The operations revenue comes from property taxes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Same sign? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And request to purchase 5 school buses, Mr. Tate.
Yes, bring before you, request to purchase 1 minibus, 3 72-passenger buses, and a 67-passenger handicap accessible bus, all from Midwest Transit. They were the lowest bidder on all of those, totaling $418,632. The buses that we plan to trade in, we actually will list on the public auction site. We've had better success getting money for those trade-ins through that source. And remind the board that this expense will come from our 2018 bond issue.
I need a motion, the request to purchase 5 school buses.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are we purchasing new ones because we have more students who ride the bus, ours are getting outdated and can't be repaired as
Good
well?
question. We have a 12-year cycle of replacement, so each of the ones that we're replacing are 12 years old. So we try and stay on that cycle. So while we may keep a couple of those as spares, we are buying 5 new ones. We try and buy in that cycle, and I can share with you our 12-year replacement plan. That is something that we present to the board in the budget presentation when we do that in August. But I certainly can get that for you as what we have currently.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I'll make the motion. Can we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Strategic plan update.
At this time, I'd ask Ms. Totterud to come forward. We have, for the last year and a half, been engaged in a strategic planning process that engages community members, staff members, board members, and most recently, we have taken on a core planning team that has been overseen, again, through central office liaison by Ms. Totterud, but 3 of our excellent assistant principals representing the high school, Mr. Reynolds, and representing middle school, Mr. Butler, and Mr. Salzman as the elementary, have kind of done that. And we also have then contributing staff members that are here this evening. So Jen, if you would please give us a background on where we're at with our strategic plan.
Yes, thank you all so much for your time. As you know, I'm Jen Totterud, and I am here with members of the strategic planning team. We have Jason Lorch, Michael Reynolds, Chad Salzman, Mark Butler, Bethany Newsom, Haley Mishler, and Aaron Vaughn. We also, on our team was Teddy Clooney from the high school and Jana Wagner, and unfortunately they weren't able to be here tonight, but wanted to let you know they were part of our team as well. And tonight we want to provide you an update on the strategic planning initiative. So you might be aware that the strategic planning began in the spring of 2017 with the creation of a core planning team. That group consisted of Ms. Keith, along with district administrators, teachers, staff, parents, and community members to come together. They reviewed data, they looked at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to LCSC, and then they formulated 3 areas of focus that they recommended that we focus on for the next 3 to 5 years. Over the next year, then this group was convened, and their job was to put together the actionable steps that go to support those areas of focus. So we're going to just review quickly the data that the teams have been using in order to make these decisions, and then the action steps that have been decided on to support those action areas. So the teams from the beginning, from 2017 up until recently, looked at trends in legislative action, both at the national level, state, local, political climates and things that were shifting there, as well as community demographics and district data such as enrollment reports, graduation rates, annual performance reports, and then the results from the 2018 LCSC survey that went out to students, staff, and parents and community members as well. So they have been keeping up with all of those, and that data has been updated to reflect where we've been in this process as well. The 3 areas of focus that were identified through this process were, the first was student learning and achievement, the second was staff development, and then finally community support. So for the first focus, I'm gonna step over and Mark.
Thank you. I'm Mark Butler, assistant principal at the middle school. I want to thank Jen publicly here for all the work that she's put into this. Logistically speaking, she's done a fabulous job with this group, and thank all of the members of the group as well. So as Jen said, the first focus area here is student learning and achievement. So our focus within this area is to implement a diverse and dynamic preschool to 12th grade learning experiences that serve the needs and interests of all students. So within this focus area, we've created 4 goals, and we will review those with you here. The first one is to increase student involvement. Research shows that student involvement correlates with stronger academic performance and higher self-esteem. So that is very important. Number 2, meeting the changing mental health needs of all students. Just a little bit of data to share with you. 1 in 5 young people suffer from a mental illness, and about 50% of us experience some form of mental illness or mental condition within our lifetime. Too large of a percentage of today's students are reporting as stress being the #1 barrier to their academic performance. So because it can have such an effect on their students' brain development, early identification and effective intervention is key to solving this problem. And 3, we want to continue to prepare students to be college and career ready. And finally, our 4th goal here is to create, implement an alternative education program so that, as we mentioned previously, that we can meet the needs of all of our students.
I got a question.
Sure.
The number 1, increase student involvement. So is a teacher trying to ask the child that never raises their hand a question, or how are you going to increase the student involvement?
Not necessarily from that angle, but hopefully that is the effect of getting kids involved. Our thinking is that every kid is involved in some sort of activity outside of the classroom, but within the confines of the school. Research, like I said, indicates that the more kids are involved in extracurricular activities, the better they're going to do academically, which is going to also has a positive impact on our mental health as well. So.
I'm Chad Salzman, assistant principal at Central Elementary. So the second one is staff development, promote and sustain a culture of continuous improvement and innovation. As we know, teachers play a major role in the success of our students, and it's extremely important that we not only retain the teachers that we have that are quality teachers, but also to attract new teachers. And in doing that, also developing our teacher leaders. So we've had a couple goals that we have up here. Number one, provide consistent, meaningful professional development to our staff. In doing so, we'll be able to keep best practices at the forefront and continue to highlight that good quality instruction. And then also establish a framework for teacher-to-teacher classroom visits and collaboration in order to share best practices. So the thought here is to get teachers into each other's classrooms. A lot of times in the education world, teachers are so confined to their classroom and they just sort of get wrapped up in what they're doing that you know, it's good for them to get out of that and see what their colleagues are doing and then be able to just create that collaborative environment. Yeah, so that's number 2.
All right, and the third part here is community support. So we want to engage and empower the community to understand the importance and relevance of LCSC and improving our quality of life. So we're all extremely proud to be a part of this community here, and we want to continue to strive to communicate all the good things that are happening in this corporation throughout. And within here, we've got 2 goals here. So we want to create a community support team to kind of look at where we are and where we need to go to communicate in an authentic and accessible manner, accessible way throughout our community. And number 2, continuing to work with Kristen Scott and the great work that she's been doing with the Pride Initiative and really getting that out there into the community and taking all this good news that we heard tonight and making sure the community knows about it, knows what's going on and what it means and the great work that's being done, not just here in Lebanon schools, but in the community as a whole.
I got another question. If you could go back to the last one, is that hard to do, the teacher-to-teacher classroom visits?
Yeah. So it's not easy as far as like providing, you know, coverage for teachers to be able to get in the classrooms. We're actually sort of piloting it a little bit at Central, and we've already had quite a few teachers take advantage and get in the classrooms, and they just fill out a little form afterwards and just say what they learned and what benefit they saw of it, and it's been very positive so far.
I just wondered, because I could see that being hard to do.
Yes.
As busy as everybody is.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other questions?
Not yet.
Okay, well, if there are, please let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them or pass them on. And ultimately, I just would like to thank all of you for your support for Dr. Taylor, for the collaboration of Dr. Burke with Indiana University, and everyone who's been involved in the process so far, especially this group here. They have dedicated countless hours, days, lots of conversation, lots of great ideas, and I'm really thankful for them and the work that we got to do with this. So thank you. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let me echo Jen's comments. I want to thank the members of the committee. There are countless hours put into this, so the board's aware. This is an unpaid effort of passion and commitment and dedication. As you can see, representation from elementary, middle, corporate level. And so the work that they're doing is not necessarily easy work, because you're trying to predict what our needs are in the next 3 to 5 years. You're trying to maximize teacher opportunity. As Mr. Herr pointed out, there's some things that we're trying to do in a very busy world already. And so the sensitivity that this core planning team has put into reflecting on how do we continue to move forward, how do we set benchmarks, and how do we kind of have a map of where we're going, and yet still remain true to our core mission, which is educating men and women in the classroom and allowing our teachers to have their influence on every aspect of student learning. So I appreciate what you're doing. It is a challenging task. The work that I've been privileged to review and look at has been exceptional, and it's ongoing. So it's not something that's going to be put on a shelf. We're not going to ask you back in 2 years, or whoever's sitting in this seat ask you back in 2 years and say, well, tell us what you really did, because we've not done it. What we know in 2 years is we'll know what you did because we'll see it every day in the classroom. And that's what I think the big difference of what we're doing versus what possibly has been done in other times or other places. So thank you very much, and I do want to compliment you for all your effort and dedication. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Taylor, we have library board appointment.
Thank you, Mr. Wary. By statute, the Lebanon Community School Board of Trustees has the opportunity to place either members of the board or appointees and designees onto the Public Library Board. And we are honored to have 3 LCSC representatives on the Lebanon Public Library Board. 2 members are currently Kendra Whipke and Brittany Gunther. And also at this time, I would ask that the board approve the recommendation of Ms. Barb Springer to continue in her position as a member representing Lebanon Community School Corporation on the Lebanon Public Library Board.
Can I get a motion for Ms. Springer to be appointed for library board appointment?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Liz. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Same sign for opposed. Motion carries. Approval for policy updates, Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Wary. As the board knows, our practice is to have 3 readings on policy reviews or policy approvals. This is our 3rd reading. These policies have been presented to the board in the 2 previous school board meetings. As a quick reminder, these all deal with finance in the sense that some are simply word changes when we went from the general fund, capital projects, transportation, debt service fund, to now we have the operations and education fund. I think Mr. Tate did a fine job in explaining those earlier. But just a quick reminder, what we're asking for the board's approval tonight are changes that have been made to School Board of Trustee Policy 611, which deals with internal standards and controls. Also, Policy 6210, which deals with fiscal planning, and the changes we made there were simply title changes, whether it's superintendent designee, assistant superintendent. 6212, which is a cost-saving initiative program, again, striking the word general fund and including the word education and or operating fund due to the legislative change of state funding formula for the schools, public schools. Policy 6620, which is the petty cash announcement, and again, that's not to exceed a $500 maintenance of that, but that's where we were at before. 6621, which is operations cash change fund, again changing simple verbiage, going from general fund to operations fund. And then the elimination of 6655, which is the school technology fund, again as a result of the legislative changes to the funding formula. And last, for the board's consideration, we have policy 6800, which again is a systems of accounting, which is again a changing of terminology with education and operation fund, taking out debt service, and also some of those other funds. So I would ask for the board's consideration approval of those policy changes that have been submitted through the previous 2 readings.
And you said that was elimination of 6155.
That is correct. Let me double check and make sure. Delete, remove entire pages, 6655.
Okay, 6655. Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion for approval for policy updates? And I'm going to read these just so that we have them for the record. 6111, 6210, 6212, 6620, 6621, 6655, 6800, 6144, and the elimination of 6655.
That's correct.
I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Keith. Any questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, that gets that one. Next one is Chief Smith. Do you want to come up, or you just want me to read or explain some background to the policy?
First, thank you for allowing us to subscribe to Lexipol to create our policies for our police department, brand new police department. So I wanted to make sure that we had things in place that were correct, up to date, and accurate, rather than just copy paste from surrounding agencies, which I suppose we probably could have done, but we chose to create our own document and make it appropriate for the schools. So Lexipol knowledge management system is a lot like Neola that the corporation uses for their policies. It's a subscription service. It's based with attorneys in the legal and the law world, as well as a lot of retired law enforcement people that put in their expertise in creating policies specifically for police departments. So I appreciate you allowing us to subscribe to that, and I'm sure you have seen the document. It's quite large. I would rather not have something as large, but I have learned a lot, and that a lot of those policies in there that probably don't pertain to us, a small police department that we are, but I've learned that just necessary for federal law, federal grant, maybe down the road if you're looking for monies from the federal government, the state government, Homeland Security, things like that. These policies need to be included. So yeah, you've had the opportunity to take a look at it. I don't know if you've read every page. I do know that I have, and I've eliminated 100-some pages out of the original version. So if there is any questions at all, you know, I'll try to answer them, and I'll pull it up electronically if you have questions.
I don't have any questions. Anybody have any questions at this time?
No, I thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have not read every single page yet. I will. But I have flipped through and I'm familiar with it, and it's excellent, and I appreciate it very much, the effort that you put into it.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith. This will be the first of 3 readings?
That is correct. We have first reading this month, second reading next month and March, and then in April we'll have an approval, or have the opportunity for the board's consideration of approval. So I also want to thank Chief Smith publicly. He worked very hard on this. There were some unexpected mitigating circumstances that he had to work through, but nonetheless has done a fine job in taking a very complex policy process and formulating it, not only for specifics that we have in our need for SROs, but as he indicated, there's some things that he was thoughtful enough and forethinking in including, so that when we do apply for federal or state grants, and these are requirements, you never know that until, and it's always good to have them in place. So Steve, thank you very much. I appreciate your effort and commitment to this. You're welcome.
Thank you, Chief Smith.
Consideration, thank you.
New business, Mr. Tate.
Bring before the board this evening some recommendations from building principals, and I support the recommendations. The first would be the LHS DECA trip, March 3rd through the 5th, Indianapolis. This is for competition for some of our business students. And if they achieve at a top level, then they will have the opportunity to move on to the internationals, which will be in Orlando, Florida, April 26th through May 1st. So I bring that before the board with my support and recommendation. Next would be the overnight trip for the Camp Town, Thursday and Friday, August 29 and 30. Again, high school students. This is an annual trip that Lynn O'Brien puts on for her students, and all the details are in your background notes. And then third would be an annual trip for the high school band as an incentive to Kings Island, May 18th, 2019. Request approval of all 3 of those at this time.
If I could get a motion for the approval of the 3 trips outlined by Mr. Tate. So make a motion. I'll second. Any questions?
What's DECA?
It's a business club
It's
competition. They compete in different areas of the business.
It'd be like some of the competitions of FFA. Also like a debate club, but it's focused on business and sponsored by the business teachers here at Lebanon High School.
Mr. Joris and Mr. Hudspeth.
Any more questions? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Other business we have, we did the search update earlier in the agenda. And March 19th, our regular board meeting here at the Herman B. Wells Room at 7 p.m. Does anybody else have any other business? We are adjourned.
Nope.
Thank you very much.
My son's in DECA. It's actually the first year that he's
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really,
You know what that is?
it's amazing.